Welcome back. Doug Pagitt Radio on AM 950 and a conversation with Rabbi Joseph Edelheit. And as you know, we end each program here on the show with a write-on, a call-out to people that there's some things in this world that are the way they're supposed to be. We talk a little bit in the first hour about how things aren't always the way we want them. Give it a cripes and a come on, and you got to be kidding me. In the last half of the show, we say, but there are some things that are right. And today, the write-on goes out to Rabbi Joseph Edelheit, who's trying to help a number of us, Jews and Christians alike, figure out how should we talk about these issues? What's the better way for us to talk about this? So talk us through this. What would be a better way if there's all this complexity? There's a lot of nervousness, right? When I was a kid, I don't know. We would talk about Jewish people just in very derogatory terms without even knowing it. There are all kinds of little expressions we had, that were just. I hear them now, and it's just crazy, right? It's like the first time I realized that the phrase "cotton picker," like this little cotton picking thing, is actually a reference to black slaves who would pick cotton. Yeah. Like, oh my gosh, I just literally that was a sound. It wasn't a meaning set, right? So there's all these phrases that I realized they come out about Jewish people. And now me and a whole number of people of my sort of age and folks younger are really sensitive to this. And I think sometimes so sensitive, we don't know how to talk. And then people who don't seem to be sensitive at all don't feel any compulsion not to talk. So you have some people talking too much, some people talking too little. What's the better way forward?
First, I would like them to come and learn to have you as a model. Which is the past is a burden. Mm-hmm. And Christians who have opinions about any kind of Jewish behavior should begin by stuttering a little.
Uh-huh.
So I love Christian righteousness. I gag and trip over a lot of Christian self-righteousness.
Ah, how do you make the difference?
I make the difference by saying, the Presbyterians, the Lutherans, a lot of good people with whom I've done a lot of good dialogue have been supporting Palestinian Christians. Mm-hmm. And I think that's important. And I think the Christian community in Israel and on the West Bank in particular need to be supported. Mm-hmm. Do they do that at the expense of Jews here in America who have no way of influencing Israeli policy? Mm-hmm. How am I supposed to respond to people who I trust and I respect, who refer to a barrier that has stopped suicide bombing as the apartheid wall?
Yeah.
Okay, and now my answer is, you're wrong. No, I'm wrong.
Yeah.
They're wrong.
So you're saying this self-righteousness comes out in someone being so confident that they know how to think on this issue that they're just blatant about it. And there's no stuttering. There's no moment of pause. It's not qualified with, maybe this isn't the best way for me to think about it right now, but this is all I've got.
And
instead it comes out in declarations for a whole denomination of people to sign as if that's...
Exactly.
Yeah.
The nature of what is going on in the Middle East is among the most complex set of circumstances.
Nice, yeah.
And there are some other hot places right now. Mm-hmm. Darfur, the civil war that's been going on in the Congo, the rape capital of the universe. So, excuse me, could we look at the big picture and bring the coalition of justice-minded, universal-minded people? What can we share instead of putting each other in the corner? Reformed Jews have had a very good record on people, regardless of their sexual orientation. This is Pride Weekend here in the Twin Cities. I wonder how Presbyterians and Lutherans and Methodists would feel if Reformed Judaism began making statements about those good justice-bearing Protestants who can't quite accept everybody in their pews.
Oh, I see. And again, what's happening here is that people taking Israeli policy of how they're going to deal with a particular issue, and they extrapolate that into Jews who don't care about the Palestinians.
And, excuse me, Hamas has a part of its charter as we want to exterminate the Jewish state.
Yeah. So how... I can imagine people who hear these conversations, they tend to hear one side or the other.
Right.
You have a guest on who always, says, hey, here's the side you're not hearing. What is the side of the Palestinian situation that we should know about? What's in...
Today's New York Times, Tom Friedman, has another brilliant article about what's happening in the West Bank, what Abbas is doing, that their police and security force are the real thing. That investment in the West Bank is paying off. We're talking about Hamas and Hezbollah. Hamas in Gaza, Hezbollah in Lebanon, two terrorist organizations that exist for the purpose of keeping peace from happening. So, as we're trying
I've heard people from those organizations that they would present themselves differently.
Yes, as resistance fighters.
Yes.
Yeah. And
so, do they have a point? I mean, is there a sense at which when somebody who supports that position would say, "Excuse me, we're not trying to keep peace. We're trying to keep from letting one side, the Israeli government, do whatever it wants with our land." Is that a fair argument? Like, is it complex on both sides?
There is certainly an act of resistance. Gandhi, Dr. King, any number of chiefs in the Native American community did not strap explosives onto 16-year-old girls, put them on buses expressly at a time filled with school children.
Right.
Okay, so
but is it fair to say that's not exemplary of what the Palestinian resistance effort is about? Is that fair?
It is fair that Hamas and Hezbollah are not all Palestinians. So what's going on in Gaza and the blockade is not just the state of Israel, it's also the nation of Egypt.
Yeah, right.
Egypt does not want Hamas influencing their population.
I see. So there's a broad international political dynamic to this that's going to constantly stir the waters.
That's right. Hamas loses its identity if Israel makes peace with the Palestinian people.
So with 1 minute left, what should in 1 minute, Rabbi Joseph, how could people progress in the next few weeks or month with how they think about the issue of Jewish-Christian conversation and Palestinian and Israeli conflict? What should we do?
The admission of complexity and ambiguity that Fox News and anybody else they're reading or hearing doesn't have the answer. Two, my relationship with Christians, your relationship with Jews is not going to make it or break it based on a resolution that a foreign nation may or may not follow.
Yes.
And thirdly...
So friendship is a big piece of this
friendship.
thing.
And let's take some deep breaths. And instead of having an opinion, let's listen to what is in each other's heart.
I see. And even if that's hard on people who say that the plight is so tough, this is no time to wait, you're saying that compulsion still needs to be moderated.
Yeah, because you could say the wrong thing at the wrong time and you'll be waiting even longer.
Well, may your faith bring us faith, Rabbi Joseph. May your hope bring us hope. And may your love bring us love. You get the right on Doug Pagitt Radio today.
Thanks, Doug.
Hey, we'll be back next week. And let's do something about all this, folks. Let's find a better way to live and a better way to talk.
The real estate market has